They could have a prime minister going not one, not two, not three, but 4 years, and his integrity report cannot be certified. 4 years. And remember, he is only one of 8 of them who are under investigation for illicit generation. Look, you know what that means? What it means? A team, them. So we're going into an election, and 7 more of them who we don't know have put up themselves for election while they are under investigation for illicit generation. Comrades, time come for change. Time come for a government led by a man with clean hands and pure heart. Time come for a government that will put people first. Time come for a government that will ensure that every Jamaican benefits from what is happening in Jamaica, and not just a handful of people living big while the rest of us suffer. Time come for building equity in our education system, for making tourism work for everybody. So comrades, you have an opportunity where you are. Comrade Donald Rock, 3 to 4 terms. He's 4 terms. Big up, campaign director here. Ethne Miller Simpson, Northwest St. Andrew. Big up. Comrade Floyd Morris, constant advocate for those people who are differently able. The sheriff, and there will only be one sheriff. Now and forever, Comrade KD Knight. Comrade Chairman of the People's National Party, Comrade Angela Brown. And your next Member of Parliament, Comrade Stacey Knight. You don't want to happy, comrades. The People's National Party, Angie is how much? Is 1/3 of our candidates are female. Of his 21 female candidates, that is something that we must celebrate as a party. Comrades, I want to say one message here. I want you to continue to believe in Comrade Stacey. Yes, it's been 27 years under one leadership, but you can break it. Because when you look, if you look at the voters list, there are about 21,000 voters and no more than 10,000 votes in each election. So you have an opportunity, and one of the complaints I get all the time in this constituency, there are PNP votes, but the people have not come out. So there are PNP votes in this constituency that you can pull out that have not been pulled out. So I just want to say, yes, you're in a challenging seat, but believe in your candidate, because she has come here with enthusiasm. She has come here with commitment, and she has come here with fire to take this seat for the People's National Party. Comrades, I just want to share with you, because you've been here long, about what your party will do to ensure that we grow this economy, that we build a Jamaica, that every single one of you and your children can participate. And I'm going to talk about 5 E's. 5 E's. Of how we will transform this economy. The first E relates to education. And the problem we have in education is that we are producing too many children who leave schools like New Day and other primary schools. And when they get to high school, they cannot perform because they don't have the foundation. Many of them get to high school and are reading at the grade 2 and the grade 3 level. And as such, by the time they go through high school, because they go to first form and second form, they read 5th form. And when they leave high school, they can barely read and write, and they don't have the skills to function in this society. So our first commitment is to transform education. And we're going to do that by putting the resources at the basic and the primary school level. And there's three basic things children need to learn to do. They need to learn to read, they need to learn to write, and they have to be able to do a little maths. Those are the three basic skills that children need to do. And we're going to put the resources so that when your children come through basic school, come through primary school, and they get to high school, they're equipped to perform at the high school level. Now you might say, why is this important? Because if we don't fix education, you can build a society where everybody can eat some of the pie. We don't want the crumbs will fall off of the table. And the only way we can get the cake is if we have the skills and the expertise and the training to take advantage of the opportunities that are there. And while the government can boast and say unemployment is at record low levels, the reality is that we have 700,000 Jamaicans who are outside the workforce. But that means them not the poor. And all of us, if I go to my constituency at any point in time in the middle of the day, people just sit down there. We have to build a Jamaica where we can get more Jamaicans to want to participate in the workforce. And the only way we can do that is to ensure that we give them the skills and the expertise. There are too many children who don't come to school because their parents can't afford to send them to school. So we have made a commitment that every child in need will get at least one hot meal per day when they come to school. Minimum. I remember, when we talk about, Angie said, and the corruption, thieving, so that we can include breakfast and lunch. So nobody can excuse why the people have stayed to work. And then we're going to go further. We're going to say for public transportation, we're going to ensure that you have a subsidy provided so that even if you have the lunch money, but you can't find the bus fare, we will ensure that your child can get to school. Because if the people miss 1 and 2 days of school in Ghana, you are confining them to a future of poverty. So we are committed as an administration to moving those impediments so that everybody gets an opportunity to get the best possible education. For those students who matriculate, meaning them go through high school and they want to go to university, we're going to make it easier for them. We know that many of them don't have the money to pay the fees, and that the student loan bureau can be difficult. Your Prime Minister in waiting, Comrade Mark Golden, 2 years ago, lobbied and recommended that they remove the guarantors, and the government, the carbon copy government did it. We're going to go further with the Student Loan Bureau. We are going to link whatever your salary is to your repayment. So let me explain what I mean. So let's say you borrow $2 million to go to university, and Student Loan Bureau say you must pay back $30,000 on it. But the job you have, you can only afford to pay back 15. Because after you take out the rent money, and the taxi fare, and the food money, etc., you can only pay 15. We will allow you to pay the 15. No, whatever the figure is, we will allow you to pay it. Because that is what your salary can afford. Now you have to bring in your salary paper and show that you can afford it. And most importantly, we're going to ensure that your account is not categorized as being in the pocket. Because what is happening now to the students, even if they are paying $15,000 every month, because they're supposed to pay 30, Student Loan Bureau saying in the past. And now Jamaica is in the era of credit reporting. So you get a bad credit score. So when you don't pay off the loan and you want to buy a car, or you want to buy a house, you can't do it. So we're going to remove that so that whatever your income can afford, you can pay that. And then we're going to extend the moratorium. What I mean by that? When you don't graduate, the time between when you graduate and you start to repay that loan, we're going to extend that by another 6 months. And the reason we're doing that, one, we know many people don't get a job immediately after they graduate. And even if they get a job, them facing bills but they never have before. They have to deal with rent money, all the other things. So we say we're going to give you an additional break so that you can start to pay your student loan a little bit later. Comrades, the second E you're going to go to relates to energy and the cost of electricity. Jamaica can grow when we are paying 40 US cents per kilowatt hour. And just to give you a comparison, when we left in 2016, it was 23 cents per kilowatt hour. But because when the first Minister of Energy came in 2016, the only thing him come to do after thief, they mash up the energy ministry. And it has taken them 8 years to put together any kind of plan, and they have no plan. For every 2-3 years when we were here, we have sunlight, so we introduce requests for proposal to add solar to the grid so it can bring down the cost of energy. It's only last year for the first time in 8 years this government do. We are committed to having a proper energy plan to deal with electricity theft by going into communities where you have holy TV taking place, installing mini grids, having solar grids so that people don't have to depend on the grid. They can use solar and generate their own electricity. Because the reality is, we know many people do it because they don't really want it. But the cost of wine in the house is high. The cost of going to GI to get it certified is expensive. So we're going to implement a program where we provide you the support so you can rewire your house, get it certified, and then we have mini grids that will provide the electricity. Because if I ask you for those who pay, what is your biggest bill? You're going to tell me it's your light bill. And the country can grow because business can grow if all the money earned is going to pay the electricity bill. So your government is committed to bringing down the cost of energy so that we can free up resources and grow our economy. The third E is what I call emerging economies. And there are some industries, or cultural and creative industries. And let me tell you what I mean. You see the comrade and the non-well. Every time I speak to someone living at the constituency, so I see them all the time. The singer them, the artists them, the painters, the potters, the people who have put Jamaica on the map, that has allowed Jamaica to punch above its weight. The cultural and creative industries, we are going to establish a fund of $1 billion per year to provide support for those persons in those industries. So you, the next time I see you, you must tell me, say you're going to the studio and you build a tune there, and that tune they can run every time Comrade Space and I go up on the line. Because I'm not just you one who can run them tune and build them tune. There are hundreds of others. And so we're going to provide a fund to support the persons who have that kind of talent. More efficient government. The problem with this government is that the Prime Minister has concentrated almost 50% of the government on the field workforce. The whole of the office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, every single agency that you can think of, UDC, Port Authority, it goes on and on. You know, well, we know why I do it. We know why I do it. Because it's a consolidation of power plus other things. But what it has become, comrades, is a bottleneck. So, Comrade Knight, you were the chairman of UDC, and this is a real story. A private sector big private sector player and a lease with UDC and needed a no objection because he was buying some property there. It took them 1 year because the minister who has responsibility for the UDC is the Prime Minister. And so to sign off on the no objection 1 year. Our Prime Minister in waiting, Comrade Mark Golden, has said he is not going to take the portfolio. He is going to lead something akin to what Comrade Patterson and to the Development Council. And wherever there are impediments in the government system, him will make sure he will remove that so that projects can flow through and that we can get the development and the resources that the country needs. And them call it a public investment management system. It takes too long for projects to go through our call the pipeline. And to be honest, it now stop them from that they might keep seeing with. So we have to make that process more efficient and more effective. It can be on average 2 years for a project to go through the procurement process. And so we are going to reform it so that we can free up the resources so that the resources can go for the benefit of the people. It can't be right that Cornwall Regional Hospital, when it first started, they say $1 million to fix it. Then it got to $5 million. Then it got to $10 million. Then it got to 15. Then last year when it reached 21, we said 21. This year they had $5 more million on it. We could have built 2 or 3 new hospitals for the money that we're spending on Cornwall. And you know what our recoveries? If any of you ever have a relative who have to go to KPH, they have to sit down for 1 chair for days before anybody sits. They can't get bed. But yet in this government spending $31 million for one viewer drill when they say cost $3 million. How can I go so? The victory here! The 50 is that your leader has said, the man with clean hands and a pure heart, has said he's going to run a government of ethics. He's going to launch a movement, a national movement of restoring values and attitudes. Not led by him or led by politicians, but he's going to reach out to a cross-section of church leaders, of civil society leaders, because we have to bring back good values into our society. But most importantly, he has said he's going to lead by example. We don't know saying he's not coming for chat. He's not coming for scream. He's here to serve. And he has made it clear to all of us who are working with him that if we slip on that issue there, we're gone, we're gone. We slide down, we're gone. So he has set the bar for all of us. And so you can depend on your government to make sure that the resources that are there for you will be used for your benefit. There is no democracy in the world. And I said democracy, where you could have a prime minister going not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 years, and his integrity report cannot be certified. 4 years. And remember, he is only one of 8 of them who are under investigation for illicit generation. Look, you know what that means? Wait a minute. A thief, them thief. So we're going into an election, and 7 more of them who we don't know are put up themselves for election while they are under investigation for illicit. Comrades, time come for change. Time come for government led by a man with clean hands and pure heart. Time come for a government that will put people first. Time come for a government that will ensure that every Jamaican benefits from what is happening in Jamaica, and not just a handful of people living big while the rest of us suffer. Time comes for building equity in our education system, for making tourism work for everybody. So comrades, you have an opportunity where you are. Comrade Knight, please come here. You have with you, and as your candidate, a warrior,